Hello, my name's Chris Gorse. I'm here with Professor John Sturges. And John, I just really want to ask you to probably give us a quick overview on the importance of biodiversity as an issue that we need to consider within sustainability and managing sustainability.
Right. We are part of the Earth's ecosystem, that is the whole set of living matter, both plant and animal. And we know that there are millions of species of plant and animal on the planet at the moment. We are at a kind of high point in geological time at the moment. The Earth has been flourishing since the end of the last ice age, and as a result we have a huge biodiversity at the moment. We don't know exactly how many species there are. I think near 2000 we'd probably enumerated perhaps 1.8 to 2 million individual species. That's not all of them. Various people suggested that the total actual number might be as high as 5 or even 10 million. However, we've arrived at this high point in geological time, high point of biodiversity, and the result of anthropogenic activity is that we are now killing off these species at an unprecedented and accelerating rate. Why are we doing that? How are we doing it? Well, there's been a move to industrialise agriculture, for example, by creating larger and larger fields. And to do that, it means you have to remove hedgerow systems. You grub out hedgerow systems and you meld 5 or 10 fields together to make one big field, which is much easier to deal with using modern agricultural machinery. However, if you cut out to make one big field 3 kilometres by 3 kilometres out of 9 1 kilometre fields, you cut out 3, 6, 9, 12 kilometres of hedgerow. And in that hedgerow, you've got numerous plants. You might have hawthorn bushes in the main or various other types, perhaps a bit of ash or oak growing in one thing or other. But you've also got lots of grasses and other flowers, wildflowers and things flourishing in those hedgerows. As well, you've got all the birds and the insects and the small animals that live in those hedgerows. And so by doing away with those 12 kilometres of hedgerows to make one big field, you're destroying the habitat of literally thousands and millions of insects, birds and small creatures. Now, why is that important? Well, man has taken the view, well, I'm the sort of lord of creation, you know, the whole planet's mine to do what I like with, I rule the roost. Well, it's not true, we don't. We are part of that ecosystem. We depend on these other life forms for our life. Without all the plants on the planet, there wouldn't be any animal life, because the plants take carbon dioxide and water vapour, and in the green leaves of trees they photosynthesize it and produce carbohydrate foods and oxygen. They breathe out oxygen, which we need to live. We also need the hydrocarbons as well. So it's very important that the Earth's ecosystem isn't destroyed, and biodiversity, good biodiversity, implies that we've got a very rich variety of life forms. That's important because these can be an important natural resource. Many times we've found that the answer to a particular illness lies in creating a particular drug or medicine which we discover in nature as part of a plant, and we can harvest this plant and derive this particular drug or medicine from that. If we willfully destroy or ignorantly destroy an ecosystem, we may unwittingly be destroying a future source of medication for some illness that's becoming important. It's not just our future well-being, but all the other plants and animals that we depend on as well. A rich, biodiverse ecosystem is a much healthier place to live in than one where there's just a few species left. In the Earth's history, there have been 5 great mass extinctions, the biggest of which occurred 250 million years ago, the so-called Permian extinction, which was caused by the Siberian traps. In the region of eastern Russia, Siberia, a huge igneous province erupted out of the Earth's crust over thousands of years. Millions and millions of cubic kilometres of lava spewed out and cooled and spread out. And what happened as a result of that was masses of carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide and other gases were emitted into the Earth's atmosphere, which caused climate change. All the particulate matter clouded the atmosphere and caused loss of sunlight. And as a result of this cataclysm, 250 million years ago, 90 to 95% of all the living life forms on Earth were made extinct. They were killed off. So we were down to a very fraction of the plant and animal species that had been around before. It took millions of years for this to recover. There have been 4 other events. Probably one of the most famous ones was the Chicxulub meteorite of about 65 million years ago, which contributed to the extinction of the dinosaurs. It wasn't the only cause. It coincided fairly closely in geological time with the Deccan traps in India, where another large igneous province occurred by volcanic effusion. Masses of lava spewed out with the CO2 and the sulfur, and that rendered conditions for life less favourable. And these large lizards, many of them largely became extinct. There are a few survivors from that time. In the plant world, ferns, which we see in nature, are survivals from before the Chicxulub event, and alligators, crocodiles and caimans are animal survivors from the age of the dinosaurs. So biodiversity is very important, and unfortunately what we're doing with our pumping out CO2 and SO2 and creating mega farms from the smaller ones, we are contributing to a reduction in biodiversity, and that is a very, very important issue from the point of view of long-term sustainability. It comes at least up with climate change and CO2 and all the rest of it. It's equally important because we are a life form, we're part of an ecosystem of life forms. Unless we take steps to not damage that, we stand a chance of an increased chance of becoming extinct ourselves.
I think that's very useful, John. It's good to pick on the major events and how they can change the planet, resculpture the biosystem that evolves or survives beyond that. But quite clearly, it's a very delicate planet that we live on, and the changes that we're making at the moment are having a big effect on the survival of species.
I don't know whether it's delicate. It'll survive us. If we mess it up to the point where we become extinct, it will still be here, and something will still be here. It isn't fragile in itself. It's just that the setup that we enjoy at the moment, to some extent, is capable of sustaining damage to the point where it won't sustain us anymore. That's the point.
I think that's something a lot of people forget. The planet will be here a lot longer than we will.
Oh yes.
In any event, but obviously, if we want to preserve our lives a little bit longer, in the comforts that we've come to enjoy, we've also got to make sure that we support the biodiverse system, the ecological system that we rely on, which we're obviously failing to do at the moment.